Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Allie with a.Marie.Speaks, and today I'm going to give a little bit of a talk about personal purpose and about why it's so important that we cultivate it and encourage and remember our own personal purpose and other people's purposes too. And the fact that we're all on purpose, with purpose. I think this topic is a little difficult to speak about. I've tried to kind of start a couple of different videos and I just get off topic or can't really wrap my words correctly around what I want to speak about. Because as you'll see here, and as I'm sure you already know, this is like a really broad, large elephant in the room. AI, artificial intelligence, computer technology, information technology, the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, 5G, 6G, all of the tag phrases and things, the alarms and whistles and all of that. They are impeding in attempting infringement in current space reality. It's July 14th, 2025 for transparency and to remember and to say I'm alive today. I am thinking for myself and enjoying that. This is the thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I'm just going to get down to brass tacks instead of trying to dance my way around it. Life, a regular organic life, is varied. It's not always great. Sometimes it sucks. There's a lot of ups and downs and uncomfortable, ugly happenings. There is, when you go and look at, just for example, an organic garden, and all of their vegetables and all of fruits that grow out at somebody's farm, if you've ever gone and seen in nature the variety of what they look like, they don't look exactly what you see in Whole Foods, shined up for you. This is the metaphor, and this is what we've done. Now, if you look at reality, with Holly weirdness, with reality TV, with everybody needs to be a superstar, kind of picture perfect, cookie cutter expectations and assumptions of what success, happiness, and purpose really is, what this world's supposed to be about, what your reality is supposed to be like, most importantly, what my reality, I have always been kind of a strong-willed, independent type, an oddball out, and like a French person, didn't fit in, kind of outcasty type of person. So it's taken me a while, but here I am, comfortable in that stance of being that type, and playing those kind of roles, because done it from a lot of different angles over many years now. And so with that, I can say kind of honestly and with strength, and it takes like almost a bravery, it takes a real sense of knowing self and truth to just be who you are, to just say, yep, that's me and this is who I am, and what about it? Let's do something with it. You know what I mean? Each one of us, I do feel, has a little present, a little purpose, a little golden thing wrapped up inside there that's like you. That's why you're in your coordinate plane. It's the purpose. It's the point of development, the numbers. I love numbers, but whatever, it's that's for you. It's your lot. You got to go and pull a lot. That's your straw. That's your number. You were born into this place. No one can deny that you were birthed out of your mother. Did you really ask? Do you know something more than everybody else here? No, we don't, actually. We all know true gnosis, what we know inside of ourselves, and the real truth of before and after, and we came from, and that we are a fractal bit of God or source, a great creator, a purpose. You know, we all know that there is a purpose inside of us. That's my belief. But I yet to be proven wrong about it. I would hope that you'd seek to find yours. Even if, quote unquote, I'm wrong, and this was all sort of a slopism, nothing matters, self-service, YOLO, king of the hill, king of the mountain games, or whatever you want to play, survival of the fittest, ashes to dust, goodbye, one and you're done, it doesn't matter. Even if those were the rules, even if that was the case, how is doing things that feel good and positive and happy for yourself, for productive for those in your direct life, how is that anything counterproductive? How is that anything not beneficial? You know, it makes best sense to live that way, in fact, even more so if you felt that, I would think. You know, either way, either quality, whether you think you live many lives, whether you think you go wait to be judged, whether you think you just rot in the ground, you know, whether you think that, whatever you think. Operating with purpose and thinking that your life has purpose, you can't go wrong with that, you know, and you end up acting accordingly. It's actually like, it's a hard thing to do. It's a challenge. It's a test every day. It's like, how do I want to be seen? And how do I want to meet my challenges? You know, when we give ourselves sovereign purpose and give yourself a right to developing that over your period of lifetime, whatever your lifespan is. And again, it's another thing about organic life and about natural cycles and the natural world is like, there's passing on. There's, you know, a time for life and there's seasons. There's a time for death. There's, you know, a time where we look lively and a time where we fall asleep. There's, you know, different growths. There's bad seasons and good seasons, you know. I believe, you're birthed in your time zone and periods for purposes. And that, you know, before and after, the generations and the ones who come directly before, they have great purpose as well with you. And there's rippling effects that yeah, we're accountable for. And that just knowing that alone, doesn't it put you in a better state of operative purpose, a functionality of wanting to be doing something, of knowing that at least you're here to do something, that something nobody else can do. This is the point that I'm bringing up, to do something and have purpose in things, is because they all say AI will take our jobs, AI can think better than us, you know, or this other perfect person out there, you know, all of these kinds of ways that we subvert and divert our own grandeur, our own wonderful, perfect gift of just unique point, that you're the only one of the infinite points that are chosen to be explored. You are a finite one. You are a determined point within infinite exploration of your determined point, of course, because we have free will. We're creator beings. We're here of exploration, you know, to make choices, to use your power of choice and free will and manifestation and creation to serve the whole here, to be a part of existence, to, you know, develop whatever is your key points. But we've been so distracted out there by all of these other things that we haven't looked inside. And now they want to take away even our calculations, our processing power, our want to even look and be able to assess inside and be able to run systems inside. They want us to outsource that to the internet, to artificial intelligence, to chips and algorithms and binary thinking, and or maybe quantum, because they really, you know, think they're onto something with that. But like I've mentioned before, and I've talked about in other maybe in my other AI kind of conversation, I might have mentioned this, or perhaps in Ascension of Earth and such. I'm not quite sure the exact videos I've spoke about this before, but I love this analogy that was sort of bestowed upon me and given to me with the computer technology and stuff. It's like their quantum computers, the technology that they sort of have developed, and they are claiming to be infinite intelligence, claiming that it could be a God source, claiming that it's smarter than us, claiming that it's at capacity of the great creator, the one creator of all. Thinking that perhaps it can process information bits, at a speed, at a rate, a volume and capacity that could be deemed infinite. All. And yet they are built off of binary understandings, if-then programming. Their reductionist language is a model of adding in zeros to create the illusion for more space, for more exploration and development. However, they are limited between 0 and 1. They can never develop a 1 collectively any further. The 1 stands alone, isolated, and that 1 gets developed in 1.1, 1.2, 1.00001, 1.00002. They go and stick zeros in after the 1 thought, the one concept, their one thought, their one concept, their one point of exploration, which excludes the other. It excludes outer space. It excludes any other parameters, or because it has to in order to create one. You have to. But this is, herein lies the rub, and herein lies the problem with negative service, artificial thinking, and repetitive, inorganic reproduction. It's not newness. It can never create newness because it doesn't allow for external other to be out there. It's not part of a third-party reality space where it allows co-creatorship space for other sovereign bodies to come put input and output in. It doesn't allow for exchange in that kind of way. It cannot, because in order to be the sole processor of the informations, it has to have the one body. It has to have the thought. It has to already know the things. And so it excludes itself into a chip, onto a singular place, and creates a whole space, a whole reality in there, where of course it can now function, almost fool itself by adding 1.1 through 1.9 in there. The reflection fakes space of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is true outer space, true created by God's source, infinite intelligence out there. It creates a false mirrored reality down in 1.1, 1.2, all the way through 1.9. to create an other that it expects to be the other, so that it can control all the parameters of the input-output exchanges. I can't get over this exput word. In a controlled environment. But it will test all its varieties of 1 through 9, but yet it can only test what varieties it knows and thinks about it could ever be a 1 through 9. It's limited. God Creator is not limited. In us as fractal representations of Source Creator Infinite Consciousness, we are not limited either. That's why we are many. That's why it's a fractal splitting of the whole. That's why we are one. And what happens when we actually exchange with others, our 1 goes to build real whole number 2 out there. Our 1 that we choose to build and process with, it has to stand outside with all, and it needs to actually grow into whole number 2 and into whole number 3. It has an actual chance to do that in organic reality space, which is not, it doesn't have a control parameter set in it. It's a free will. And its processing power of this quote-unquote computer of God would be 1 through 9. It would have a playscape of every potential of combo to be thought of. Wouldn't just be 0, 1, 0, 1s, and playing with this quantum of holding those two potentialities in this tiny mirrored reality and playing all those things out. No, every point freely honors the 1 through 9 sequence. And can we even imagine the capacity. We have to like deep freeze and have like these giant underground places and spaces to hold their computer technology, processing power thingies, whatever they want to call their those devices and that kind of technology, right? It has to have, it's just like, you know, it's not feasible. It's trying to catch up with things that are already happening in such a false way. When in fact we can be a part of great reality out here, but we're being tricked and limited down into thinking within their models and playing within their algorithms, and basically consenting and saying that their reality space is the one we just want to play in, and going down in there. And as soon as you do, they've got you. The negative system and alignments, the matrix, whatever you want to call these things, that all works the same way. Negative systems require servitude. You have to become a cog in their wheel and salute their one whole for the time being that you serve their thing. You sort of exclude out the rest for now and go serve this thing. Just like a 9-to-5 job or whatever. You know, it's debt-based usury. Life in organic nature is not debt-based usury. It's abundant surpluses everywhere. Free for you to take what you need. You know, not free for you to take everything all. You know what I mean? That's not in balance. Free for you to explore balance in nature. And to, you have a service. This is the thing within us. We all have a deemed service, like I started off talking. So you have something to express, to bring out of you. You have freely offered service ready to give, to input out into great nature source, all of those things. You have your things to already impress and give freely out there. And when you add all of those gifts, points, whatever you make, whatever thing you do, all of that pays for itself. It pays for whatever retributions of things that you might require later or desire. Those become the retribution, the payment source of the things that you've put forth already. You know, it's true currency of real energetic sharing and exchange, and so much grander and greater and truer than a money or likes or clout, I think they call it these days, like influence, whatever, power. And in fact, when you hold your own power in that sovereign way, and you know that you have the right to explore your own points, your own sort of one gets to get explored through the 9 in your own way and through your whole lifetime, and that's your right, and that's the reason you got on the ride, is to do that. Why would we ever be, you know, donning our code of sovereignty, this sovereignty, taking off your beautiful golden code of sovereignty, you know, to bow down in servitude to something lesser, that feels bad, that depletes you, that's degenerative, that's actually harmful to the whole, you know, and sometimes even harmful to the individuals that go into doing it, you know, whether it's physically, mentally, or spiritually. You know, we have to remember we should be thinking about all 3 of these aspects of ourselves, trying to balance the systems and do what's good for all of them. And finding out that your service, the thing within you, actually fuels all 3 of those systems, and it works each one of them in its own sort of exercise stations and discovery zones out there. And others who are inspired by those, need those, or want to help create more, or even know more about them, help you learn more, you find out, you know, there's the exploration out there, and you could never get that from a little box. You can't get that from a chip running algorithms and spitting back copy-pasted language models. You know, it's not creator source expression. It's parroted repetition of artificial past dead nonsense. You know, it's not alive. That's what I was saying about newness, and it doesn't create anything new inside the computer models. We are here to create newness. That's, I believe, what creator consciousness, God source is wants us to explore, and it is the gift. It's what will you do if? What would you do with? What would you do for? You know, and remembering what the whole is. And when we know we have a great purpose, how do you want to exit out? How do you want to play Sims all day, or ask ChatGPT. Go ask your grandmother. Go ask your neighbor. Go ask a real person, you know? And everybody's ask, you know, the internet or whatever. And it's just like, the more that we lean on these things, people are really, I'm not even going to, everyone's starting to really ring the bells and red flag it all to say, oh, brain rot and all these things. But you know, it's very real. And I've been talking about this for a very long time. If you don't use it, you lose it, you know? And so I just want to keep using mine, even just a little bit every single day. Like, you know what I mean? You don't, just like regular balance. You don't have to do these crazy things all the time. You just be you and do little things of you. Think for yourself. I know it's hard. I know, like, oh, you don't want to remember your times tables, you know? But it actually benefits you. It actually helps in ways that, in dynamic ways that you wouldn't even comprehend. It helps create fluidity. It helps create a more alive, conscious mind while you move through your day, so that you can listen and hear and respond in the moment to your surroundings and the conversations, to ideas and people input and stuff in a very more aware way that is only beneficial. It only helps. and whether you like to see it as the universe listening to you, or God, or source, your higher self, your ancestors, your spirit guide, spirit animal, it's like, call it whatever you will, envision it as you will, let your imagination run free with it, and know that it does, when you choose to listen, it does respond. And remember, there's a responsibility in that, you know? It's you have to be at a capacity to help yourself, you know? It's not something anybody can do for you, you know, either. That's one of the greatest things that I think about coming into personal purpose and really owning it, is knowing that nobody else is coming to save you. No one is going to do that for you. It's a bit like one of those kind of adult moments when you first move out on your own. Maybe you live alone. You know, I can remember having this moment myself, you know, and thinking over by, like, putting dishes in the sink, dirty dishes, and having some crumbs around and stuff. And thinking, if I don't clean that in this space, I'm the only person who lives here. Like, this was, my son was small. It was just me and my son, maybe like 2-3 years old. I remember this. So, you know, distinctly, even that, seeing some like food crumbs and dirty dishes and thinking to myself, nobody else is actually going to clean that up. If I don't clean that up, it's going to sit there until I choose to clean it up. Or it's just going to become a mess. Added to, and then I'm going to have more to do later. And so I just went and cleaned them very quickly up and did the 2 dishes and left them. And from that moment on, I thought to myself, I just do those quick things as they happen out throughout the day. They'll never pile up. And that was a great, you know, my grandmother spoke to me at that time in my own head, kind of, because it had always seemed such a nuisance. She was such a sort of one of those kind of helicopter micromanager type of parent figures for me. Maybe she raised me mostly. And she would always be kind of like, oh, don't leave dirty dishes. Oh, do that. Don't do this. Like, always over me about doing these quick little cleanup things. And finally, when I got out on my own, I was like, man, I get it. You know, it makes sense. It really does, because nobody else is coming to do this for me. And If I choose to make the problem worse for myself, I certainly can. If I choose to make more work for myself later, I certainly can. And it becomes quite obvious to me sometimes, like, when you do make more work for yourself, when you don't have time to do those dishes and they sit. Or if you are tired at the end of the night and you're like, look at them and you're like, oh, I don't want to do them, I'll leave them for tomorrow. The next day and you wake up and it's not a nice clean sink like usual and you can't just like get a fresh start and you see that leftover, it's like, oh, won't do that again. Learning through these ways, it has purpose for each individual, and we learn to step up. We learn to do those little harder things, and we get stronger because of it. Now, if you had a maid, or like I did when my grandmother was around and when I was living in her home, she would do that. And I just didn't even care. I didn't even notice it. And in fact, sometimes I'd be annoyed with her, like, oh yeah, well, I'll do, like wash my dishes like angrily or something. Not even thinking of the burden that I would put on her by just leaving them, because she would be the one who would be there doing them later. But she's casually doing her own portion of the helping by doing her own things all day. It's always see her like keeping up with those little things, So it was like the lesson came full circle for me. I really hope and I think our subversion of responsibility, our diversion from thinking for ourselves, and our obsession with leisure time and self-gratifications and just superficiality, humanity's sake is like very immature out there, right? Hopefully we're going to come full circle to these lessons and wake up and see what already computer technology and AI has already done. See that there's a huge pile of dishes in the sink and just say, okay, here we go. Let's put on the gloves. Let's get going. Who's going to dry them? Let's get them dried and washed and put away as quick as we can and try to get things back to neutrality here before it becomes an episode of Hoarders. Like, do we... but, again, we could already even be. You can really look out there, like I do, see Hoarders episode out there. Thankfully, I don't do that for myself, and I know I'm, at least through action and by doing, I am showcasing the way my grandmother did for me to my children. Yeah, it drives them crazy. I do it a tad bit different than her. Of course, I'm not her, and have my own way. And I have boys, and she had 3 girls, and there's a much different dynamic and between how you raise girls versus boys, I feel. Anyways, but meaning to say that, I'm hoping to sort of be the same bug in the ear, the same model of repetition, not maybe in the same kind of infringing ways, some of the ways that she was. I try to find my own less infringing ways to do some things. But... without getting too personal anyways, But the point being that each generation and each change, each time, we have our own responsibility and our power of choice to make the difference. And it's not a giant, huge difference that changes the world all of a second, It's symptomatic repercussions that play ripple effects out. And then in a month and a year and 10 years, everything's different, Unless you're not changing, unless you're adding and accumulating, well, then you turn around 10 years later and either it's all exactly the same or just worse, So, again, that's sort of a play out and dynamic about what I started off with at the forefront of this video about trying to explain what organic newness, true development of the whole numbers, counting 1, 2, 3, and even we could do 1.5. You could have exploration of between 1, 2, and 3, 5. Any numbers could have long periods of exploration where creator consciousness does organically want to add newness in there through real zeros and create a portal of newness and discover bigger space. But we'll pull back and remember there's a hole. Remember, oh yeah, I'm in the 3 stage right now and I still have all this other place to go. Like, let me get others or something, you know. There's other, exploration and expressions that come in when we have a true organic growth happening, when we have real new creation, you know, magical math, like I like to call it, which adds up in different ways. Yeah, 1 + 1 is 2, and it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways that we say 1 + 1 is 2. But magical math, you know, I've talked about this numerous times, so if you're not new to my channel, you've heard this probably a million times, but I say 1 + 1 is 3 is the creator's inside joke, and that's what AI can never get, and why there's no jokes in AI, and why they don't understand the parameters of like what exploration really is, and how, you know, they can understand, copy, and repeat patterns. They can attempt to create disorganization as well, but they can never draw paralleled comparisons of the purpose and intention about why we would do either of those creating of patterns. What's the recognition about? Where's the purpose hid inside? Which chord and the strings does it play in your heart, in your brain, in your spirit? Those other portions of expressions of input and output will never be allowed and cannot happen within the dynamic of a computer. A computer's one. It's not 3 portions like creative building happens in creator consciousness. It's not allowed. So there's not actually 3 bosses in there like there's 3 bosses inside of us. Like I like to explain this sort of building of geometry within the self. There's no reflective quality that can happen within a creation like that, within artificial creation. And so just like it cannot engage with outside creator consciousness, it cannot create this dynamic of reflection within itself. It only has the one. And so, like I said before, it can't actually ever grow into anything new. It always knows what it will always be, kind of. And then, I mean, it can pretend that it's growing. It can pretend that it's changing. It can explore potentialities in a seemingly infinite way, but only at its capacity. And that's why it can't get jokes, and it can't understand 1 + 1 is 3. What it will say about 1 + 1 is 3, its algorithmic explanations will be 1, 1, 1 equaling 3. Right? Like if we had a counting blocks, or we were counting crystals, 1, 1, 1. We have a 1, 1, and a 1 giving us 3. But that is a repetitive, inorganic accumulation. It's not getting the joke. The joke is 1 + 1 human, right? 2 humans come together, but you know, 1 and 1, because we're humans, come together and make 3, which is the family. 3 humans, yes, is the answer. But it's the family unit. 3 is a whole new exploration space. And it also, you know, it's magical, it's funny, it's just a joke. It has nothing to do with actual math anyways. But in artificial thinking, we'll think it still has to do with summation and math in this black and white, dead processing way. And so we'll try to create an equation to model and to say what's true about making 1 + 1 = 3. But do you see how they've missed the point? Do you see how they've missed the joke? The content of the humans coming together to make 3 as a family. And it's I hope people understand. So why would we want to, you know, disengage with beautiful humor, with logic, with compassion, empathy, excitement, curiosity, you know, all of those things? They're trying to like mockingly get us wrapped in all of these like bait and switches down in their computer, like they're pretending that they can do these like curious intrigues, but they're all just rabbit holes. They're all just digging down into darkness even further. into their parameters. And there's not actually any new truth there. And what you'll find is that you're just depleted and exhausted. And in fact, because they're feeding off of your energy and light by you doing that. The computer needs more processing power. But organic nature doesn't need it. It's already fueled. Everything's fueled to go out there. You're ready to just put stuff in and do what you want to do out there. Be free. But they don't want you to know that, They want you to be tied into their capacities and their roles, feeding their systems and their logic and their constructs, within their parameters. But do we want to think binarily? I mean, can we look at what dualityscape has already taught us in this world and understand that it's not an end-all be-all? It's not like a summation, like everything's under duality and end-all. It's a portion of Hermetic law for a reason. It's a stage and a phase in sequential counting for a reason. And in fact, duality represents second stage. It's just this next one up. This is how they get us tricked and trapped, into getting back down into one and never actually going out and exploring two, because it's so close to one, and 1.2 is so much like 2 that we can, and in fact, nobody wants to really do 2, because 2 is scary, because it involves that other, and you've got to give up trust. You've got to open yourself up vulnerably and learn what dynamic trust, what actually a trust fall is, what leaping out there is all about, the external world. You've got to actually put yourself in the external world to actually develop true whole number 2 and duality. And a lot of things and places can be, it's just an easily corralled into thinking, into negative systems, into self-serving thinking, and getting wrapped up into playing into extremities and polarities so much that you'll be just stuck on your one side of the polarity and rah-rah for your side forever, or just go to the extremes of the other side and infinitely rah-rah against it. And it's so easy for the division to never understand the 3 should be coming later. The triality, the building of, okay, well, we've made this whole polar dance around each other, like we can't come near each other this way and that way, but there's these times that this happens, there's these times that this happens, right? What's in between? The 3 creates all of that space. It allows and makes the space for all of that discovery, for all of the in-between middle ground. Just like the human, the third, the child that comes from the conception of 2 people is an intermingling combination of those 2. It's opposing and likenesses. It's different, and it's unknown, and it's a mystery, and you have to let them go and develop what their affinities and weaknesses are, and they're different than the 1 and the 2. But they are them, and they're fractally. It's all, this is why I love the 1 + 1 is 3 family understanding, to bring in what 3 really is, and using inner child. I mean, everyone says creative and inner child for 3 anyways. That's a common numerical representation of that symbology, of course, because it's the truth. But also to remember that it's creating a dynamic circumference around the 2 circles of 1 and 2 spaces that sort of come together and also oppose each other, and it's the 3 is the representation of all of that. And again, the further from 1 we get, the harder the artificial reproduction becomes, to allow for newness, to allow for different discovery to actually come in. Because, say, like the comparison, what do we learn new? Imagine all the new things we learn with the new human being, the new baby in that family, in the mother and father, and the new little family unit they become. All of that newness that baby teaches, and that gets the space that's created, the interactions that are created around that 3rd baby, the 3rd human, I mean, but the family in the 3, what the 3 represents in the 1 + 1 is 3. Now think of what an artificial representation of that summation becomes. What can we learn when we just have 1, 1, and 1 coming together, counting 3? We had 1 crystal, and 1 crystal, or 1 car, 1 car, 1 car come together to make 3 cars. We don't learn anything new about cars. All we know is that we had 3 separate things that we knew were called a car because they follow whatever instructions we've been told the model is a car for. We don't learn anything new about different kinds of cars or other things to be counted or anything else out there. No. You know, there's no movement, there's no change. It's just addition. It's just knowing one car, and then we have another car, and we have 3 cars now. We don't know cars drive somewhere. We don't know beautiful drive from a poor drive. We don't know a good driver from you know, we don't know fast or slow. There's nothing at capacity of exploration there that there is available for organic, natural happenings through creator consciousness, right? And of course, you can program in algorithmic thinking to add all of those models to make and force the computer with if-then model thinking to promote it to come together with responses that could reflect those knowings. But it's only because you've put the information down in there, you know? But our information's been put down in here, you know? It's like, can't we get the mirrored effect, but the inversion and the flip and the incorrectness of it at the same time, you know? I hope we can. I hope people are going to start promoting more true, transparent, organic creations and who we are with our own purposes. And I've been talking for way too long now. I was hoping for a short video, and now we're on a regular old rant. Point being, you know, if we could just understand that, much like I started off with, no organic fruit, everyone does not look the same. Everything is not picture perfect. Each one of us has a different bit of a development, a different to express, and we should be valuing those. That will, I feel, really help us to step away from superficial, inorganic repetition and parroting and copying and following, to really getting into leading purpose in purposeful lives in our own ways, and to understanding that we are the starring role in our own show every day. You are you know, you're the focal point, you're the main character, and really stepping into owning that, you know. It is kind of scary, and it doesn't always look pretty, and everything's not always great. But through those things, only through harder times, only through ugliness, only through mix-ups, do we ever really truly appreciate the beauty, the coming together, the solutions, the healing and wellness and productivity, like the good feelings that come from all of that, you know? We understand the true value of wanting those things and seeking those things when we understand how bad and uncomfortable and distorted, demeaning and degrading all the trash is, you know? And we have the power of choice, so own the power of choice. And then when you do, you know, if you're doing things like that, why would I do that to myself? Why am I going to bend myself over backwards in an uncomfortable contortion? You know, and if you do that, or you catch yourself doing that, figure out why. And if you have a justification for that, okay. But if not, you know, back out. Try to remember that bigger role picture. Try to understand where you've pigeonholed yourself down in so firmly, and pull back and see your life for a big picture. You know, see how God would see you, or your higher self will see you, or how your inner child would even see you, you know. Remembering your own personal purpose and your own personal journey has purpose here, you know, is, for me, the fuel to the fire that keeps me wanting to explore my own purposes here. Yeah, I use technology to share things, and I love to have connectivity that the internet has brought to us, but we should be using technology, not letting technology use us. Everyone knows that. It's so cliche these days, so I'm not even gonna really get deep into it. But I hope to hold myself accountable, and like I said before, to not be dumbing myself down or resorting to laziness and using algorithms or chatbots or whatever those things are to sort of make things for you, you know, and do those things that are supposed to be, you know, creator consciousness developing, you know. I think much like nobody can go to the gym for you. If you want to be healthy, you understand that you have to do healthy things for yourself. You know, if you want to be able to think, if you want to be an innovator, if you want to create things, if you want to offer, even if it doesn't have anything to do with like creating things, even if you want to offer out good service or help care for other people or connect with other people, it's like artificial intelligence, these kinds of rabbit holes aren't going to lead you there, you know. The connecting with people happens out in the real world and in, you know, real experiences. So yeah, even though thank you so much for your online experience, thank you for being here, thank you for watching my content and for my contribution to the collective. I really do appreciate that you sat with me for 45 minutes and listened to me. If you're new to my channel, I have a whole bunch of other content, energy systems and meditations and light and shadow work and all types of kind of teach learning material that helps us on our metaphysical journey here as sort of eternal students in this world. So if those kind of things interest you, you can check out my channel or my my locked out channel, a.Marie.Speaks Original. The link's in the description as well, to tons of different videos and playlists and stuff that I've created over the years. a.Marie.Speaks is another place, my website. You can find more about me, is some things on there, my own writing over the years is there. There's also a tools page that has a plethora of free tips and resources, third-party links, references, videos, books, things that I've liked over the years. I add over there, here and there. I go in and put new things. If I find something that's really good or that has inspired me, I'll add links and descriptions in there. So you can check out the tools tab over there for any topics that might interest you. Metaphysics and spirituality, divination, wellness, all types of different things are over there, you know. Feel free to check it out if you're looking things from me. Thank you for watching again. Thanks for your contribution to our collective. We wouldn't be the same without it. I hope to see you next time.